Sir, what? You're really lecturing a senior citizen in a wheelchair for watching a news network you don't like on a plane you didn't pay extra to upgrade from Coach. Barrett, my man, this ain't activism. This is performance art with extra entitlement. If watching someone else's screen is that offensive, may I suggest reading a book? Or, I don't know, mind your business like an adult. You know what? Let me say that in my Indian accent. Big shout out to all my amazing friends from India. But you know, I love my Indian friends, and this feels like the perfect moment to practice my new Indian accent. And let's not miss the irony, this dude works for Ford. You know, the company that once built actual cars instead of Twitter personalities. Now we're out here with executives moonlighting as social justice paparazzi mid-flight. Yo, how did I do, folks? I think I nailed it. Bill Maher, in his Club Random podcast, served up a warning shot to the Democratic Party, saying they might just render themselves irrelevant if they don't drop their woke baggage. Now, Bill's talking about the Dems needing to sister soldier, something which, if you don't know, is a reference to a political move that shifts the party back to sanity. Like that time Bill Clinton told off a certain black activist for being a little too radical back in the 1990s.
You had a rap singer here last night named Sister Soldier. I defend her right to express herself through music. But her comments before and after Los Angeles were filled with the kind of hatred that you do not honor today and tonight.
Yeah, I'm talking about the same Bill Maher who's had the left scratching their heads for a while now. Governor Whitmer turned into John Cena at the White House. You can't see me hiding her face faster than a kid who broke a window. It's the woke Olympics and everyone's going for gold in performative nonsense.
What's shaking? Show no. Just got paid, mama, what's up? I'm too blessed, no love. I'm way up, I'm stuck. Feeling good tonight. I came out with the hood tonight. Which one of y'all boys would tonight? Might just do a little jug tonight. Tryna get back like ABC. Count digits like 1, 2, 3.
Yo, what's happening, folks? Welcome back to Boney's View. My name is Dalu, and you're tuning in to Dalu Unleashed, episode 3, the only show where we say it as it is. No filter, no apologies, and definitely no cap. Today's episode is called Woke, Wheels, and Whitmer, When Tolerance Goes on Vacation. Buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into the circus of elite hypocrisy, online wokeness, and political cringe so bad it should be declared a public health crisis. So picture this. You're a sweet old man trying to catch a few minutes of Fox News on your flight, maybe catching up on what the not-so-woke world is doing. Enter Barrett Evans, the Chief Learning Officer at Ford. Side note, if your job title sounds like something you made up at brunch, I already have questions. Barrett hops on Threads because X is too mainstream and decides to virtue signal to the world that he confronted this man while he was getting wheeled to his next gate. Oh yeah, this wasn't on the plane when conversations happened. Nah, this was after deplaning. Our Ford hero looks at the elderly couple in wheelchairs and decides now is the time for moral TED talk. He says, "Love to see you supporting DEI." Old man replies, "Not me." And Barrett hits back, "Yes, you. That wheelchair and the human pushing it are provided at no direct cost to you. That's DEI equity in action." Sir, what? You're really lecturing a senior citizen in a wheelchair for watching a news network you don't like on a plane you didn't pay extra to upgrade from Coach. Barrett, my man, this ain't activism. This is performance art with extra entitlement. If watching someone else's screen is that offensive, may I suggest reading a book? Or, I don't know, mind your business like an adult? And let's not miss the irony. This dude works for Ford. You know, the company that once built actual cars instead of Twitter personalities. Now we're out here with executives moonlighting as social justice paparazzi mid-flight. You know what? Let me say that in my Indian accent. But you know, I love my Indian friends, and this feels like the perfect moment to practice my new Indian accent. Big shout out to all my amazing friends from India. Without further ado, let me repeat that last statement. Y'all tell me what you think in the comment section. And let's not miss the irony, this dude works for Ford. You know, the company that once built actual cars instead of Twitter personalities. Now we're out here with executives moonlighting as social justice paparazzi mid-flight. Yo, how did I do, folks? I think I nailed it. See, even my fake accent is tired of this woke nonsense. When you need a whole new accent just to process this madness, you know it's bad. Look, DEI has become the participation trophy of corporate America. I call it diversity, entitlement, and interference. The whole concept went from let's include everyone to if you disagree with me, you must hate progress. Real equity. It's about giving people the tools to succeed, not about bullying an old man who just wanted to see Laura Ingraham roast AOC. And to the people clapping like seals on the Barrett's post, newsflash. Being loud and intolerant isn't activism. It's just obnoxious. Now let's take a flight over to Washington, D.C., where Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer went full Where's Waldo mode at the White House. She's caught covering her face with a photo while standing next to President Trump. Sis looked like she walked into the wrong house and didn't want anyone to tag her on Instagram. You can't make this up. One image had her hiding behind a manila folder like it was a spiritual shield. Next photo, she's got that please don't let my base see this face. It's the exact opposite of leadership. It's theater, and not even the good kind. This was off of Broadway. Governor Whitmer turned into John Cena at the White House. You can't see me hiding her face faster than a kid who broke a window. And trust me, nobody was asking for an autograph. Now let's pause. Why was she there? Apparently for serious talks about tariffs and ice storms.
Has this gotten into any of the other lakes yet? Because you would think it would be pretty easy because they're all sort of connected. Governor?
It's why we're working so hard to make sure that, we work with the Army Corps and erect a barrier so that the Asian carp can't get into Lake Michigan. It'll devastate the ecosystem, the economy, tourism, and it's 20% of the world's fresh water is in the Great Lakes, Mr. President, which is why it's so important that as a nation we protect the pristine waters. Yep.
And, all of a sudden, I assume the lakes are all interconnected, right? Yeah. So at some point they're going to be in the other lakes. And so we're going to work hard on that. I spoke with the Army Corps of Engineers, and they have a method. It's a pretty gruesome method, but it's a method.
But surprise, she got pulled into the Oval Office unexpectedly while Trump was signing executive orders. Cameras flashed, and Gretchen panicked like a teenager caught at a party by her church pastor.
So picture this. Whitmer's in the Oval Office, surrounded by big names including Michigan State House Speaker Matt Hall and several cabinet secretaries. They're all there for some serious discussions. Ice storm recovery, funding for the Selfridge Air National Guard base, Great Lakes protections, and auto industry support. Heavy stuff, right? Now here's the kicker. Whitmer thought she was going to have a cozy one-on-one with Trump. Instead, she walks in to find a full-blown press conference. Talk about a surprise. Feeling caught off guard, she instinctively lifted a folder to shield her face.
People online tore her up. One user on X, formerly Twitter, wrote, "This looks so stupid and childish that it needs to be printed and framed in the Oval Office." My favorite comment reads as follows. Maybe she thought if she couldn't see Trump signing, the economy would magically fix itself in Michigan. And honestly, that's the energy. You're the governor of Michigan. You work for your people, not for your party's Twitter stands. Instead of playing peekaboo, how about just say, I showed up because my state needed it. Boom. Grown-up stuff. Now that we've shredded some woke Ford executive and laughed at Michigan's governor for playing peekaboo with Trump, it's time to dive into something a little more serious. And who better to bring some heat to this than the one and only Bill Maher? Yeah, I'm talking about the same Bill Maher who's had the left scratching their heads for a while now. So Bill Maher, in his Club Random podcast, served up a warning shot to the Democratic Party, saying they might just render themselves irrelevant if they don't drop their woke baggage. And no, I'm not talking about that overpriced Birkenstock tote bag you saw at the farmer's market. I mean the whole identity politics circus that's been slowly turning the Dems into the political version of that old gym teacher who insists on still wearing a whistle to a Zoom call. Here's the thing. Maher, a self-identified centrist liberal, which we know can be rare these days, laid it down like this. There will always be the people in the rear guard, just like there are people who are still wearing masks, you know? Now, I get it, Bill. You're not wrong. I mean, you could literally wear a mask to the DMV, but some folks are like, no, it's my identity now. I'm just keeping the vibes alive. Maher's point, the hardcore left-wing zealots who are still living in 2020, stuck in this perpetual woke state, could cause the Democrats to lose the plot. And this, my friends, is where it gets real spicy. Maher calls out the Dems for ignoring the concerns of the American people. You know what he said? He said Democrats have so many opportunities to sister soldier this crap and just do something that would make Americans go, oh, you know what? Good, because Trump is starting to really make me nervous. Yeah, he looks really nervous there. But I digress. Now, Bill's talking about the Dems needing to sister soldier something, which, if you don't know, is a reference to a political move that shifts the party back to sanity. Like that time Bill Clinton told off a certain black activist for being a little too radical back in the 1990s.
You had a rap singer here last night named Sister Soldier. I defend her right to express herself through music. But her comments before and after Los Angeles were filled with the kind of hatred that you do not honor today and tonight.
But instead of giving the American people some confidence, the left is busy twisting themselves in knots over stuff like gender identity policies that some folks might find a bit, well, out there. Like, remember how in the past, school was where you learned about science, history, and that weird experiment where you grew a potato in water. Now, apparently, schools have become ground zero for social experiments on kids, like transitioning without parental consent. Maher made the point clear when he said, Democrats have this view like, well, these are not real issues. Well, they are to a lot of people, like people with kids in school and stuff, who think that they should be able to have the say above the school in the lives of their kids. And folks, let me tell you something. If your 5-year-old is coming home with a new pronoun every day, you might start thinking, wait, am I getting parented by the school now? It's like the Dems are stuck in this bubble, trying to act like it's 1990-something, with everyone walking around holding hands and singing Kumbaya. But the reality is, the everyday voters looking at them like, yo, what happened to talking about things that actually matter? Like, I don't know, maybe how much rent is. But you know what? Let them continue down that road. Honestly, I have no dog in that fight as long as the kids are allowed to be kids. Let the Dems do their thing, throw their tantrums, and keep chasing their own tail. Meanwhile, the Republicans will just be over there, stacking wins like a game of Jenga, waiting for the next election to crush it. It's a win-win situation, right? At least the kids will be able to run around without being dragged into political drama, and the rest of us can laugh our way to the ballot box. Everyone's happy. And Maher's old school liberal approach, he wants the Dems to dial back on this woke thing and just focus on basic centrist issues, stuff that the majority of people care about. But instead, they're going hard with stuff like DEI policy, school gender transitions, and what? Banning Dr. Seuss books in some places. Maher says the big problem is that the very same culturally radical changes they downplay do actually concern voters. I mean, you gotta admit he's onto something. Some people just want their kids to learn how to read without hearing about social justice every 5 minutes. Is that too much to ask? So, what's the takeaway from Maher's rant? Well, if the Democratic Party doesn't get its act together, they might just become the political version of a bygone era, a relic of the past. Think about it. The woke left might be in full force now, but how long until it's the same folks who get triggered over things like, I don't know, understanding the oppressed turtle while the rest of America is out here trying to figure out how to pay their heat and bills? Maher is telling the Dems, wake up, you're going too far. But will they listen? We'll see. And here's where I leave you with a bit of a punchline, folks. If the Dems don't ditch the woke drama, they might just end up like that guy still holding a flip phone in 2025. And trust me, it's not a flex. Final thoughts. What do these stories have in common? It's the woke Olympics and everyone's going for gold in performative nonsense. We've reached a place where people think yelling at the elderly or hiding behind folders is courageous. Spoiler alert, it's not. Real courage is standing by your principles without needing to virtue signal every 5 seconds. So here's the deal. If you're on a plane and the guy next to you is watching Fox News, change your seat or change your attitude. And if you're a governor walking into the Oval Office, act like you belong there. Or at least don't hide like a toddler playing peekaboo. And to Barrett Evans, maybe next time just ask the old man if he wants a snack. Leave the lectures for your TED Talk in aisle 9. This has been Dalu Unleashed, episode 3. I'm Dalu, keeping it realer than a DEI PowerPoint in a boardroom with no minorities. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, or Governor Whitmer might pop up at your door with a folder. And please, for the love of sanity, Don't be that guy still rocking a mask like it's 2020, unless you really have to. But hey, I'm joking. Don't take my advice on masks. Do what you gotta do, all right? Stay alert, but don't be woke. Catch you next time. Peace.
I know you think you're quick, but quicker.